This is your Barbados Today Morning News Update for Tuesday, May 14, 2019. Thanks for joining us. I'm Carol Williams. It's not saying what public holidays should be removed, but the Barbados Employers Confederation is insisting the time has come to rationalize public holidays. Its stance follows repeated warnings from head of the Barbados Workers Union, Tony Moore, that May Day should be left alone. At a press conference yesterday, Confederation President Marguerite Estwick said the order in which some holidays fall is very disruptive.
Now, all of us, whether we are the owners of a business, whether we manage teams, or whether we are simply a working member of a team, understand the kind of emotional energy that occurs before a public holiday, after a public holiday, and in anticipation of a public holiday. It disrupts our mindset, it disrupts our focus basically, and it disrupts productivity. And I think these are some sensitive things that we need to discuss if we're going to bring order to our society. The BAC is not going to get involved in any political discussion as to what public holidays need to be removed, which public holidays need to be amalgamated, because that basically becomes a red herring in the trail to a significant, serious discussion that needs to take place about all of those issues that affect productivity in Barbados, and we need to be mature about it.
Another effort is being made to reduce Barbados' massive food import bill. Yesterday, a 3-year Farmers Empowerment and Enfranchisement Drive feed program was launched, targeting vulnerable groups. Over 300 people have signed up so far, just over half of them under the age of 45. Overall, government is targeting more than 1,000 farmers. Prime Minister Mia Mottley says it's imperative that Barbados reduce its reliance on food imports.
We need to reduce the amount of foreign exchange that this country spends. And as Mr. Nichols said, we cannot afford to have a food import bill of $700 million odd, $685 million to be precise, for 2018. Of which vegetables and fruit account for just under 10% at $66 million roughly that we import every year. It is simply not good enough, and Barbadians can do better if we pull together and work together and use that old encouragement of one blow killing old cow. Every pound and every kilogram we can go after in terms of fruit and vegetables. But that's not the only part of it. The second part of it is that we need also to change how people eat.
Manager of the Agricultural Services Division at the Barbados Agriculture Development and Marketing Corporation, Dr. Jamaica Adwili, says the program will also target retrenched workers.
Feed is expected to decrease the island's food import bill through increased and consistent production. It will look to facilitate the sustainable development of the agricultural sector through improved access to lands and inputs for agricultural production and development, and ensure long-term national food and nutrition security through improved access to safe and nutritious foods. The program will seek to target what we are terming the vulnerable groups in the society, such as youth. And when we say youth, we mean persons between the ages of 18 and 29, or maybe even younger than 18 as well, women, and unemployed and retrenched workers, but we're empowering them to become agripreneurs as small business owners.
Legendary Barbados and West Indies cricketer Simon Nurse will be accorded an official funeral this Friday at Kensington Oval. The service begins at 9:30 a.m. Tomorrow, the body will repose for viewing at Empire Club Pavilion Road, St. Michael, from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. and at Cricket Legends of Barbados, Fontebelle, St. Michael on Thursday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Nurse passed away on May 6th at the age of 85 after a long illness. After getting off to a slow start, it now appears that government's transport augmentation program is gaining steam. Transport Authority Chairman Ian Estwick says more public service vehicles are now tapping in, with several dozen applications being processed. That's in addition to the 28 PSVs that have already signed up for the program that began last month.
As of Friday, that was the 10th, we were at 28 active. and we had 42 pending. Those 42 that were pending are in various stages of the process, and we had another 3 today besides these gentlemen. So I think it's moving along nicely.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To Trinidad and Tobago, where the finance minister yesterday announced another 3-month tax amnesty, a $300 million loan for Tobago, and no additional burden on the citizens. We get more on the mid-year budget review from CNC3 News.
The finance minister delivered his 4th mid-year budget review on Monday, lamenting difficult economic challenges, mostly a depressed energy market and revenues. But with the data showing the economy moved from negative growth in the second quarter of 2017 to 3 quarters of positive growth in 2018, he says citizens can breathe a sigh of relief.
We have established a foundation on which we can now adopt expansionary initiatives. We can now grow, and this success has not occurred by chance. At this time, we see no need whatsoever to impose any additional burdens on our citizens.
You can also breathe a sigh of relief as there are no further adjustments to the fuel price. So, how does the budget affect you? A 3-month tax amnesty from June to September will give all citizens the opportunity to file their outstanding taxes. This is the administration's 2nd tax amnesty and a 3rd in the last 9 years. Under the last administration, former Finance Minister Winston Dukran announced a 9-month amnesty.
And finally, Sudan's ex-president Omar al-Bashir has been charged for his role in the deaths of protesters during the rallies that led to his ouster. Yesterday's announcement by the Prosecutor General came as protest leaders announced a deal with the army on a new governing council.
It could be a major step in Sudan's transition from a dictatorship to a civilian-led democracy. On Monday, the country's protest leaders said an agreement had been reached with the country's military rulers on the structure of a new sovereign council that will run Sudan.
At today's meeting, we agreed on the structure of the Sovereign Council, which will include military and civilian representatives. Tomorrow's discussions will revolve around the composition of the council.
The spokesman went on to explain that the Sovereign Council would rule the country alongside a cabinet and a legislative body. The announcement marks a new stage following the uprising that has taken hold of Sudan in recent months. Since the ousting of former leader Omar al-Bashir last month, protesters had maintained pressure to move from military to civilian rule. The balance between military and civilian components and the length of the transition itself have been major sticking points. As discussions on the details of the transition continue, Sudan's former strongman is facing charges over the killing of protesters. The Prosecutor General has formally accused al-Bashir of involvement in the death of protesters and incitement to kill protesters during the uprising that ultimately drove him from power.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook. And sign up for breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I'm Carol Williams. Have a good day.